Well, thank you everybody for joining us, and welcome back to another episode of JMI TV. Today we have Kyle Lake from Baumer Instruments, and he's going to be sharing a unique product often used in the food and bev and pharmaceutical industries. As we all know, response time in many of these industries can be the difference between a good batch and a bad batch of product, the right amount of CIP fluid or an unnecessary amount of CIP fluid. So here to show us the features that make the Baumer Combilyz not only the fastest analytical sensor on the market, but also a very simply intuitive product. And we have Kyle Lake with us. Kyle, I am going to give you permission to share your screen. And
thank you. Thanks for having me back again.
Yeah, take it away.
All right. Am I sharing again now?
I can see it. Yep, perfect.
Oh, good. All right. Well, thanks again. Like Andrew had mentioned, we're going to talk about the Combilyz, what we like to call the AFI 45, AFI-X. It's a conductivity transmitter that we at Baumer here make. The first thing we're going to do is get my controls working. I introduce myself. I've been with Baumer for about 2.5 years now. Update this slide a little bit. About 15 years of process experience. I still have 3 girls and a wife, so that hasn't changed. That's why my hair is looking thinner all the time. I have a degree in marketing from the University of Utah. So we're going to talk about the AFI 4 and 5, a conductivity measurement with the inductive type, what we call the donut or toroidal type. You can see the little opening. It helps if I do it on the right screen here, the little opening on the sensor. That's where we do our measurement points there. So some of the key points about this is the peak body here is pretty much impervious to most chemicals. I haven't run into anything that really can damage peak. It also gives us a smooth flow characteristic, so it doesn't interrupt the flow of what's going through the pipes. We'll kind of get into some of this stuff down here at the bottom a little bit more, but basically your fluid is going to flow through here, change the current. We're going to read that. We have an amplifier. It's going to put it out as a 4 to 20 milliamp signal, and it gives us both the conductivity / concentration as well as the temperature. The RTD is this little part right here, and one of the key benefits of ours is this is a solid peak formed around the entire thing. The entire probe and RTD. Some of the competitors have this as a 2-part, and you get some cracking and thermal cracking as they go from hot to cold. So again, the PT100, we do offer that as an output as well, so you can get the temperature as a separate 4 to 20. So it's a good way to measure what's going on in the pipe from a temperature standpoint all the time. And then when you need your conductivity for phase shift, cleaning, anything like that. So you can see here we have 2 different sizes. We're going to get into the ins and outs of it a little bit more. And yeah. So we have our compact version. So this is going to be all in one, your transmitter with your dual 4 to 20 outputs and the probe right here. Traditionally, when people think of conductivity or any kind of analytical measurement, they think of the remote versions here, where you have your probe and a long cable that comes to a transmitter and then continues on with your 4 to 20 output. We feel this compact version, it's well built. It's an IP69K unit. It can easily withstand being on the machine. It can handle vibrations. It can handle a lot of things. The touchscreen display makes it easy to program. So when you're right there and want indication or programming, it's a good option. We do offer it as a blind unit. Again, the cost savings with using something like this as a compact unit are just amazing. While the whole unit itself is very cost competitive, there's a big savings when we go to the compact. We offer 3 insertion depths for the different size pipes and tanks you may have. 37 millimeters, going to be for your smaller 1-inch DIN 25 pipes and smaller, or if you have a real small tank. The DIN 60 is probably, or the 60 millimeter is probably the most common. We use this in our DIN 50 pipes, so 2-inch pipes, And then 83 millimeters for large tanks are very popular, or if you have large 3 to 4 inch pipes. When we insert this into the pipe, we want to make sure that the opening is into the flow. So we don't quite need to be completely in the center of the pipe, but we want to be as close as possible. We need to make sure there's flow going through the opening or the donut. Same thing for the remote mount, the different versions. Because this is peak, and you can kind of see the angled area right here of the peak. When this screws into an adapter, you do get a 3A crevice-free fitting. So it is perfectly good to be in contact with food and cleanable. If you do need a remote mount, we have 2.5, 5, and 10 meter cables. These are pre-made at the factory. It's a matched pair, so they are calibrated together. So it's not something we're going to be repairing on site. It will have to go back if anything were to happen. Just a little bit better view of it. With the cable glands, you actually get an IP67 rating. With the M12s, you get an IP69K. That includes the display and everything, as long as the housing ring is securely fastened. We have the ability for what we call our bottom mount or our rear mount. So if it's in a pipe that's maybe above your head or that you're going to be looking down on, you might want to go with a rear mount so you can see the display a little bit better. We've got one of the key features of the AFI is the Defon display. This is used on all of our instruments with the display. It's touch screen like it shows here. The nice thing is all the different built-in values and displays you can get. And then when it goes into an air mode, it's actually color changing. So it is an actual backlit display. Very easy to read. Some of the special displays that are available with the AFI, you've got your connectivity / concentration and tagging. I like that one. I also use the concentration of detail. So you may have this tell you what's going through your pipe. So in the case of maybe a brewery, when you're doing a cleaning, it's going to tell you when there's water. You can also tag it to show you CIP, then your beer, or whatever may be going through there. Also, if you're just looking for phase shift and you want to see what's going through the pipes at any certain time, you've got your media label. Those are all programmable, and then your tag is going to be out of the unit itself when you put a tag in. So again, you've got some great messages here. When you go into an air, this can flash. It can just be red. It can flash white, green. The question is, how do we mount this, right? We have threads here, which everybody knows is not a 3A acceptable device. We have all kinds of different mounting options here. So we've got some weld-in for tanks. We've got weld-in for pipe. It's a G1-inch hygienic connection here. And this part is actually free moving. So you can actually rotate the display in the direction you want it as you tighten it. We have our tri-clamp connection. We're also going to use that function to make sure that the donut ends up perpendicular to the flow rate, so we get a good flow through the donut. We have our different DIN, Varavent, SMS, all those kinds of things, and the associated nuts to go with those. One of the unique features is we have 14 built-in ranges that are pre-configured, and you can assign these 1 through 4. So the factory sets it up with range 1 being 0 to 200, what we see being the most common, and then you go down through there. These are actually, you can switch between ranges remotely with the digital input. So if you click it once, it'll go from range 1 to 2. Click it again, it goes to 3, and if you have both active, it goes to 4. So a very unique feature. So as you're cleaning, or if your process requires media that has a different range that you want to be able to go through, you can easily do that. And then, like I said, these 14 ranges can be programmed down here. Just yeah, kind of different. It's not something that everybody offers. We'll get into another thing that we offer.
That's it's good to highlight these things that are unique to the product. You've got obviously the color changing display, which makes it very simple to know when things are going well and when things need to be changed. And to be able to change the ranges, and I know that there's other features that are very easily configurable like that, is very nice to highlight. And this is, I think you said this goes up to IP69, but you still get the touch screen, right?
Correct. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great addition. You can program it in the field then. People always worry with the touchscreen, can I lock it out? There is a password protection you can put in there so that only certain people have access to it. And then on top of the touchscreen, we do offer two other ways to program it, which we'll highlight a little bit later. But with our Flex Programmer, which works on pretty much all of our instrumentation devices, and then as of last year, the AFI comes with IO-Link. You can program through IO-Link as well.
Perfect.
So just to kind of give you an idea of some of the common things you're going to see in a process environment, orange juice, apple juice, beer, milk are down in here. These are easily ranges that we cover. You'll see that we specify between 50 millisiemens to 100 microsiemens. I might have that backwards. Processed water, no problem. Ultra pure water, you can see how low that is. When we get into this ultra pure water, there's another technology you're going to have to look at that point in time. When we get into this processed water area, we can certainly read there. Our air factor might go off a little bit, but it certainly can be used down there. So 10 is our real low end. 50 to 1 Siemen is our sweet spot. So again, you can kind of see here, phosphoric acid, hydrochloric, sodium hydroxide, those are all typical cleaning solutions for CIP, and then your process materials there. So we mentioned we have the 4 pre-configured ranges for the conductivity, but one of the unique things that is offered in the AFI 4 for something, or AFI 5, at this price point, is we offer concentration functions. So we have 4 predefined concentrations. These are typical cleaning solution concentrations, so that you can turn these on and know that you're dosing correctly when you're trying to CIP your system. And then the last thing is we actually offer 4 versions that can be 30-point linearized for your own use. So if you have a custom fluid that you use to clean with, or a custom fluid you want to track and see if it's meeting specification, you can do that with this unit as well. Again, very uncommon for a device in this price point and with these features to include that. If you look at some of the other kind of low-end CIP devices that are out there right now, they don't offer anything like this.
Yeah, thank you for highlighting that, because Baumer has quite a few features at this price point that are very unique, and you just spit them out. You just talk about them like they're, but yes, that is another very unique thing. Thanks, I appreciate it.
So we're going to kind of go into the meat and potatoes of it now, right? The boring parts, which is going to be all the things we need to know. 1% accuracy, by far, in this price point, the most accurate you can get. Sample times of 3 seconds. This response time is what's really unique for this device. 2 seconds for the conductivity is category leading, but the 15-second temperature response time is by far the fastest on the market. And what this is really going to help us with is, as you mentioned earlier, in our phase shifts and our cleanings, when we get that temperature response, because the conductivity and measurement is temperature compensated. So the faster we can get that temperature, true temperature, the faster our unit can respond and give you time to maybe cut off the cleaning chemical sooner, save more product as you're cleaning out with water, whatever the case may be. So that's industry leading right there. And then I had mentioned earlier the use of IO-Link. If you wanted to tie in, say, an external RTD like our new PT20 from Baumer, which has about a 1-second T90 time, you can tie that in through the IO-Link, and you're now just you're crushing it. You're going to be faster than just about anything on the market right now. Another option.
You're talking about this. What are some competition response times that are standard at this price point? I think I've seen 45 seconds. I mean, it's not even close.
45 is a very common. Some are up to 60. We've worked very hard on this. This is what I call one of our big differentiators. Some people might look at this and say it's a Me Too product, but I think we have some real things in there that separate us and make us industry leading. The response time and display being one of them, second to none. The dual output is also one that's pretty unique. Typically, you'll only get one 4-20 output. I don't know if I had mentioned yet that you get the dual 4-20s. You get the conductivity / concentration and the temperature output from this device. Another thing we're seeing a lot of people do, because part of using the conductivity transmitter is CIP and cleaning, and one of those measurements that you need to take is flow. People have been integrating our PF20, which is our velocity flow meter, which has an RTD in it, and that's typically going to be upstream of the conductivity sensor. Taking that temperature output via IO link and taking it into here, and then again, you're down to about a 5-second response time. So you're getting your flow, temperature, and conductivity from two devices that are acting very fast to save you time and money in your process.
Yeah, and then every time you're running that process, you're saving 45 seconds, roughly, or more in some cases of whatever your CIP or batch. I mean, it's 45 seconds every single time. Adds up, I'm sure. So
we actually have a calculator that Andrew has or I can provide, that allows you to input your current conductivity sensor's response time compared to ours, and give you a cost savings over the number of batches and cycles you would do throughout a day, week, and year. So you can actually put a dollar amount to that savings.
That's awesome. There will be a link, by the way, for those watching this via video. There will be a link in the description below. So,
like we mentioned, the wetted parts are PEAK and IP69K with the M12 connectors and appropriate cabling. So again, I just wanted to touch on, I know we're getting a little long here. We're almost out of time. It's about 12:20, so we want to make sure we have time for questions and Q&A and all that good stuff. But one of the things we want to talk about is CIP. That's probably where the conductivity sensor is used the most. So we just wanted to highlight a few things in that real quick. The function of it in here. So to ensure, like we talked about, is my cleaning solution correct? Do I have the correct batch to make sure, number one, I'm cleaning the piping and tanks enough? And am I not overdosing so that I'm wasting product and perhaps corroding pipes quicker than they need to? Even stainless with typical CIP does have some erosion over time. If you tend to overdose your chemicals, you're going to speed that process up, and you may have to replace piping or instruments along the way, which gets expensive. And then monitoring the CIP steps. So once we've hit the correct concentration or the correct mix of chemicals, have I cleaned it for long enough at the right concentration or conductivity level? Do I need to add some chemical? Maybe if it's a longer CIP process, am I getting some water in there that's lowering the cleaning effect of it? So again, it's just going to help you monitor it along the way. We talked about the dosing of the chemicals. Can go right into the tank and go in line. This is a great little display here. So we've got our clever levels to monitor tank level, and then pump protection here. We talked about that last time I was on our PL20S. Phase separation. Again, this is another one when you're talking things like beer or milk or even soda. When you have to push with water to clean the piping system out, you want to make sure right at the end there, you've got something that can quickly and fast tell you when you've run out of product and you need to switch to the dump cycle or the recirc pump versus the product pump. You don't want to water down your product, and you don't want to put cleaning chemicals into your product. So the fast response of this is really good on that. And then again, just measuring the water and the rinse water. Is your water hard? Is there things you need to do to treat your water when you're cleaning to make sure it stays the correct way, and offering the best options?
now I know that these are very programmable, Kyle. If you could just back up 1 second. And I saw that it was labeled water. When the process media changes enough to be called something different, you would get a different name, right, on the screen? Would you also, can you program it to get a different color as well?
And if we hop back here, I can.
Yeah, so I guess thank you very much. This will be the beginning of the Q&A. Yeah, here's the picture. Okay.
Yep. So you can change it there. There's 4 of them that you can have in there. So it can be water, CIP, it could be product, or if it's different products going through the pipe, it could be product 1, product 2, product 3, product 4, whatever you need there. So you'll notice here they're giving us the actual measurement and the label of the, in picture 2 here, they're giving us the measurement as well as the product label. You're always going to get a milliamp display. Here you can see it's a percentage with it, the conductivity or concentration percentage, and then your media label down there. One of the unique things, like I said, you can do in bar graphs. So maybe from a distance, I want to know if my concentration and my temperature here are where they're supposed to be. So from a distance, I can see on a bar graph what's going on in the system without being up close. So another unique option. If you go back to some of these other ones, I know I always laugh about this, but there's always someone in the plant. I like to see an analog gauge. I want to see a needle move. Well, we can do that for you too. So from a distance, they can see where that needle is, and they can decide if they want to come over and check it out further or just keep doing whatever they're doing.
Little something for everybody. So, well, thank you, Kyle. We're going to open it up to the live Q&A now. I'm going to go ahead and check to see what people have thought, but thank you very much for the presentation.